episode 504 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Tonight, on this Friday, I will be talking all about WWE Friday Night Smackdown, getting ready for Fastlane, featuring a WWE United States Championship match, Bobby Lashley on the Grayson Waller effect, and much more. Also, AEW Rampage, as we get ready for this Sunday night's AEW Wrestle Stream pay-per-view right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. Welcome, everyone, to episode 504 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Your host, Lance Brock, here tonight on this Friday for another episode. Hope everyone had a fantastic Friday today. And I know it seems like lately it's been just about every episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, I have been apologizing on the podcast for mistakes I have made. Got another one for you. This morning on the Friday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans, I accidentally messed up the date today. Instead of September 29th, I ended up putting September 28th on the date for the podcast. So sorry about that last night. Also, I ended up not doing an episode of the podcast to talk about Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor. Sorry about that. I'm sure, as you could tell, my voice still not quite 100% just yet. Still kind of sounds kind of crummy there a little bit. But trying to tough it out and still do the podcast anyway. Last night on Impact Wrestling, we saw the farewell to Yuya Uemura, who lost the Feast or Fired match at Impact 1000, being fired from Impact Wrestling. Also, we now know that Sami Callihan is a free agent now that his contract with Impact Wrestling is up. Will definitely be interesting to see what is next in the future of Sami Callihan. And Ring of Honor had a pretty stacked episode. I heard, unfortunately haven't had a chance to watch it just yet. Hopefully I will soon. I know, shame on me. Normally I watch both Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor every week. But tonight we have WWE Friday Night Smackdown and AEW Rampage to talk about. And tonight, WWE Friday Night Smackdown was live from the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. Tonight, our commentators Michael Cole, Kevin Patrick, and Corey Graves. They had a pretty good crowd in Sacramento tonight. And we start things off with Smackdown. Jimmy Uso, his music hits, and he walks down to the ring with Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman. He gets, or Paul Heyman, I should say, gets booed right away, has a lot of heel heat here in Sacramento tonight. And then Jimmy Uso gets the microphone from him, says the usual, the bloodline is now in your city. And he tells the HG double hockey sticks hole. Remember, this is a podcast for ears of all ages to acknowledge their tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And they show the beating they gave John Cena last week on Smackdown, and the attack on AJ Styles as well. And Jimmy just laughs at it. Heyman says that Cena is having some transportation issues this evening. And while he is expected to make it this evening, you can't see John Cena because of as of this moment, Cena is not here at SmackDown. Heyman says AJ Styles also isn't on SmackDown, and that isn't because he is in a hospital, because he is in a hospital bed watching them this evening. And then they go on, and then we see Carl Anderson come out and attack them from behind, throw Solo and Jimmy Uso out of the ring. And Carl Anderson says it is personal. It is OC business. So he tells Jimmy that he better handle it or else we'll handle it for him. Or Solo tells him that, I should say. And then we go to a commercial break, and then we're back with our first match of the night. Carl Anderson taking on Jimmy Uso with Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa in his corner. I thought this was a pretty good match to start off SmackDown. I wouldn't say it was anything real great, though. Jimmy Uso picking up the win here in the opening match of Friday Night SmackDown. But not a bad match either. I'll give this one 2 out of 5 ring bells. And Carl Anderson gets back up to his feet after the match. And then Solo ends up hitting him with the Samoan spike. And then we see the bloodline going to the back. And then we see Michin, Mia Yim come out. And Jimmy Uso points to Carl Anderson, kind of taunting Mia Yim. And then she slaps him in the face as she runs to the ring. And backstage now, Kathy Kelly is with Santos Escobar representing the Latino World Order. And she asks him about the match with Rey Mysterio tonight for the United States Championship. And he tells her that in his mind he is very focused, but his stomach has butterflies. This match is all about heart, he said. Before, it has been a dream to face Ray with the title on the line, but he has been working his entire life for this to happen, and that he has a chance to make it come true. He will never stop fighting for his dream, Escobar says. Ray is in for the fight of his life. And once again, we see the Bloodline backstage. And Jimmy Uso is in the back there, kind of bullying some of the WWE employees that are backstage. Kind of pushing them around a little. And Paul Heyman gets his iPhone with his new Bloodline phone case, which I'm sure is one of the new cases that is available now at WWEshop.com. And he does the usual call Roman Reigns. And then we come back, and it is time for the Grayson Waller effect with special guest this week, Bobby Lashley. And Waller has his usual setup for his talk show with his desk and all the plants and all the chairs and everything. And he talks about Cena a little bit at first. Then Lashley comes out. And then we see some video packages focusing on the Street Profits losing to Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar last week on Smackdown. And Waller says his boys, the Street Profits, had a devastating loss last week. But Lashley says he made a mistake. He thought they had enough pride to do what it takes to make it into the business. But it is back to the drawing board. Waller tells him if he is looking for a tag team, he might be looking for a team that is undefeated. A team like Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Lashley looks at him and says he will pass on that. Waller tells him he and Theory have changed as he is speaking. Out come the Street Profits to the ring. And Lashley stands up, gets face to face with them. Lashley says he doesn't want to hear excuses or reasons that they want something out of him to prove it. He looks at them and then he leaves the ring and walks away. The Street Profits get out of the ring and they follow Lashley, and once again he tells the Street Profits to prove it and then walks away. At this time, Waller says it is awkward, but they need to bring the crowd back. Austin Theory's music comes on next, and then he comes out to the ring. And next up on Smackdown, we have a match. Austin Theory with Grayson Waller in his corner, taking on Cameron Grimes. And I just want to say one thing, though, about the Grayson Waller effect. I wouldn't say it was a real bad segment, but I'm still just not really feeling it all that much. This week, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, I'm not so sure that they really helped that much. And Grayson Waller is just one of those guys that I'm not really too high on. To be honest, I kind of feel like I would rather watch an episode of Miz TV. And now back to that match. Dragon Lee is shown in the crowd. And the bell rings and the match is underway. Austin Theory picks up the win in this match. Not a bad match at all. I would say probably 2 out of 5 ring bells, with Theory picking up the win. And he goes over to Dragon Lee and he shoves him, and then is broken up by WWE officials. Next on Smackdown, Kayla Braxton is backstage with the legendary Rey Mysterio, and he comments on the match with Santos Escobar tonight. Tells him that he worked hard, and Rey says he grew up watching his dad. He has nothing but love and respect for Santos, but he tells him to be careful what you wish for. And every time he steps in the ring, he expects the best from his opponent. He tells Escobar that he is going to give him the fight of his life. And then he goes out for the match. The WWE United States Championship is on the line. Rey Mysterio taking on Santos Escobar, LWO versus LWO, with Zelina Vega at ringside. And I thought this was a good match here. And during the match, we actually cut to a camera, which is backstage, and we see Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa once again attacking WWE officials. And then we get back to the match. And these two continue. Rey goes for the 619, but then Escobar hits him with a super kick. As Rey goes to the floor, Escobar hits a suicide dive onto Mysterio outside the ring. And they go to another commercial break. Not right after, I skipped ahead a little bit, but still pretty good match here. Rey Mysterio gets the win. Still United States champion. Pretty good match here. I enjoyed this one. I'll give it 3 out of 5 ring bells. For this match, I'd say if you missed it tonight for some reason, I recommend going back and checking this match out on Smackdown if you did miss it. And then Dragon Lee tries to jump the barricade again after the Street Profits come back out and get involved. And they attack DJZ and Del Toro, or I know his name's not DJZ Zima Ion anymore. His new, what's his WWE name? Oh, Joaquin Wilde. And Dragon Lee tries to jump the barricade to get involved and make the save, but security holds him back. Also tonight on SmackDown, for the first time, the commentary talk about Jade Cargill coming to WWE over from AEW. And definitely curious to hear what you think about that. So leave in the comments section, either here on Spreaker, YouTube, or whichever podcast, website, or app you listen to on. How do you think Jade Cargill will be used in the WWE once she's there? Also, let me know in the comment section, are you excited to see Jade Cargill in WWE? Let me know how long you think it'll be before she is in the title picture, or if she will even be in the title picture. And then we have some silly stuff in a video with Pretty Deadly. And then we have a four-way Charlotte Flair, or not four-way, sorry, a singles match. Charlotte Flair versus Bayley with Damage Control. And not a bad match here. Charlotte Flair gets the win. I'll say 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. And next up, we see John Cena making his way to the ring. And he comes out and talking about the match against the Bloodline at Fastlane, which originally was announced as a handicap match. John Cena taking on Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. But then we hear the music of L.A. Knight. Yeah. And he comes out. So now our match at Fastlane will be John Cena and L.A. Knight taking on the team of Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa representing the Bloodline. I think that will be a pretty good tag team match for the Fastlane Premium Live event coming up in a week from tomorrow night on Peacock and WWE Network elsewhere. And now on this Friday night, we go over to TNT for AEW Rampage, which was taped Wednesday night at the First Bank Center in Broomfield, Colorado, right after last Wednesday night's episode of AEW Dynamite is the go-home episode of Rampage before this Sunday night's AEW Wrestle Dream pay-per-view. We start things off with a match for the AEW Trios Championship. Daddy Ass, Billy Gunn, and the Acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, taking on Brother Zay, Isaiah Cassidy, and the Hardys, Matt and Jeff, in a trios match. Pretty good one here to start off Rampage. Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed get the win to retain the Trios Championships. I'll give it 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. And now we have a match for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. Eddie Kingston defeats Rocky Romero to retain the title. Another pretty good match here. I am a big fan of both Eddie Kingston and Rocky Romero. I'll give this one 3 out of 5 ring bells. I enjoyed this one. Getting ready for this Sunday night as Eddie Kingston defends the Ring of Honor World Championship against Katsuyori Shibata. And then after the match, we see Shibata make his way to the stage. I think that could be one match that could possibly steal the show this Sunday night. Kingston versus Shibata at Wrestle Dream. And the number one contenders for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, the Righteous, Vincent, and Dutch, are in action, and they defeat the team of Caleb Crush and Gunner. And as the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, would say, well, it looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. And this week on Rampage, the main event, we see Hikaru Shida defeat Ruby Soho to become the new number one contender for the AEW Women's World Championship. Good main event on Rampage this week. I'll give the main event between Shida and Soho, 3 out of 5 ring bells overall on this Friday night of pro wrestling. Smackdown, I thought it was an alright show. I wouldn't say it was anything real great, real spectacular, but I also wouldn't say it was anything real bad either. Tonight's Rampage, an okay show as well. Before Wrestle Dream on this Sunday, I wouldn't say it was anything real terrible, but it was definitely fun to watch. And that's all for our Friday night pro wrestling lineup. As we head to tomorrow, have AEW Saturday Collision and NXT No Mercy. As I have talked about here on 360 Wrestling Fanatic, that I do plan on. Sometimes plans change, but as of right now, I do plan on having live episodes of 360 Wrestling Fanatic tomorrow night and Sunday night. Tomorrow night after AEW Saturday Collision and NXT No Mercy Premium Live event. Then Sunday, the big one, AEW Wrestle Dream Live on pay-per-view. And I'll probably end up waiting till after Tony Khan's media scrum post press conference. So not quite sure what time I'll be going live Sunday night into early Monday morning. But stay tuned to find out. But before then, tomorrow morning I will be here live for the Saturday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. I'll preview tomorrow night's Collision and NXT No Mercy. So that's all for this Friday night episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Once again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you had a great Friday. Hope everyone enjoyed Friday Night Smackdown and AEW Rampage. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave your feedback for both WWE Smackdown and AEW Rampage in the comments section, whether you're listening right here on Spreaker, YouTube, or whichever podcast app or website you are listening to on. Go ahead and leave your thoughts right there in the comment section. Or you could email your questions or comments to 360wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. I've kind of forgot to mention that as of late. Also, last Thursday there was a new episode of 360 Anything Goes talking about the Three Stooges, Shemp Howard, the last day of September, which actually is tomorrow, but that was the last episode of Anything Goes in the month of September, or September as I like to say, and that's available also last Monday, I believe. A new episode of 360 Unboxing became available. Unboxing the September 2023 Pro Wrestling Crate that is available on both 360 Wrestling Podcast's YouTube channels. So maybe you can go check them out. And like, comment, and subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. So I'm going to wrap up this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic right now. Hope everyone enjoyed listening to the podcast tonight. Once again, I apologize if the voice still sounds kind of bad. Hopefully we'll get better soon. The allergies have been pretty bad the last few days or so. And that's all for tonight. We'll talk to everyone tomorrow morning on GMWF. But until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.